Hello, and welcome to Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm your host, a family nurse practitioner, a health and wellness blogger, and a community volunteer. In here, we discuss evidence based health information regarding mind, body, and soul with a holistic emphasis. Thanks for joining me on this journey of health and wellness. Please enjoy the show. Hello, hello. Welcome to our weekly show. My name is Abby. If you're new here, this is the show that we put on Tuesday. I would go in a little bit more in depth with health topics that need a little bit more depth to it. Okay, so once again, my name is Abigail Tyler. Welcome to all of you. Today's topic is you can see there's 6 tips of choosing a medical power of attorney. Okay, please share the show. Please share the show. Please give me a thumbs up. And welcome to all of you that are joining me from Focus in Liberia and also from YouTube and other parts. Okay. Again, my disclaimer, I am a provider, but I'm not your provider. So please do not make any changes to your regimen without contacting your own provider. Alrighty. So share the show. Please send me stars. If you don't, that's okay. But I just appreciate if you share the show. Okay. Because my friend may not be your friend and you can share it. Okay. Alrighty, and also I saw this really nice article from Very Well Health, so I decided to go ahead and bring it because it's a timely topic for most people. They think that I don't need a power of attorney because I'm not old yet. It's for old people. It's not for young people, so I don't really need to do that. I can always do it later on, and that really doesn't matter because anything can happen at any time. You can be very young and something can happen, and you need somebody who's going to make decisions on your behalf. You could be a single parent, and you need somebody to make decision. God forbid, if you have younger children, that's going to make medical decisions on your behalf. Okay, so financial power of attorney is a person who handles your money and all that when you can no longer do it or can help you do that. The medical power of attorney is someone who choose to make health, who you choose to make health decisions, health and medical decisions for you if you're unable to make them for yourself. Sometimes if you're incapacitated, let's say if you had like a brain injury or something, or just in the position where you cannot make that decision. Sometimes people they'll call the person and say, "Can you just come and help me make the decision?" And again, and when you can no longer make that decision, that's when we have to call the family member. We have to call that person if we're in the hospital or in any kind of setting where we need to get that person. Okay. So what are some of the characteristics? And finding medical power of attorney is one of the most important decisions you're going to make in your lifetime because that person is going to be making decisions for you, sometimes like life or death. Most of the time, it's going to be, especially as you get older, they may stay in and go to your doctor's appointment with you, or the family member, there's something, the person's in nursing home, or just the person still living at home and it's okay, let me talk to somebody else who can help make the decision because you're not in a position to make that decision clearly. Okay, they're still going to involve you in the decision, but you may need somebody else who can look at it differently. So because is the medical, is the life and death situation sometimes, and also just because of your health and all, because you need your life and livelihood. So it's very important to know the person that you're picking. It's not, some people might just say, okay, if I don't have one, my husband's going to be my power of attorney, or my wife's going to be my power of attorney, or my eldest child going to be my power of attorney, depending on your culture and all that. But you don't want, when something happens, when people arguing and things like that, and especially let's say if you're divorced also, but you're separated, but you haven't divorced your spouse yet, that your spouse becomes automatically becomes your power of attorney, and we can't talk to anybody else. We have to talk to that person. So it's important. Imagine that you haven't lived with this person for so long, and now this person's making decisions on your behalf. It's also important that if you do have a power of attorney, that's separate from your financial power of attorney, medical, and separate from your financial and all that, that they get along. Because sometimes people are like, okay, what if this person was going to do something with my money and they just want me to die or whatever it is? You can see how it can be a little bit untrusting. So sometimes you might want to make sure that they agree. And also when you do make this decision, it's a legal thing, it's a legal power, paperwork and all that. So make sure everybody's aware that you are making this decision. So let's get right into it. What are the 6 tips for choosing a medical power of attorney? Let's get into that. So depending on the state that you're into, it may be called differently and the requirements could be different. Okay. So what are the characteristics to look for? That goes for the tip. All right. Number one, let me go in here. Number one is, go in there, go there, sit there for a second. Okay. Someone who lives nearby. Okay. The reason for that is because sometimes they might need that person to come to the hospital or come to wherever the person is to be able to make that decision, physically be there. They can do it over the phone, but if you're living close by, it's much better. Okay, because again, like I said, you want to sometimes it's like we need a decision, especially in the hospital, something's going on. Okay, we need to give this person blood. We need to take this person to surgery. We need to do this. We need and sometimes something happen like minutes at a time. We don't have enough time to wait and all. So it's important that person can get to where you are quickly as possible. Not if let's say if you went out of town, something happened there. Yes, so we have to call them on the phone. But chances are, more than likely things will happen to you where closer to where you live, so at least if that person lives close to you or they live closer to wherever it is, most of the time you may be going to the same hospital anyways. So if they can get to the hospital quickly, as quickly as possible, it's very important that way they can sit there and they're looking at you. Sometimes they're talking on the phone and not looking at you and they don't know the seriousness of the situation. So it's important that they can come there and they're close by and they can see you physically and say, okay, yes, we want you to continue this. No, we don't want you to continue that and all that. So it's important that if they live close by, it's important, it's more beneficial to you if they live close by. Alrighty. So number two, someone who is trustworthy. Again, like I talked about before, you want somebody who's going to be, you can really trust them. I mean, you don't want to be like, I don't know if I pick that person, I don't trust them that well, but they're the only person. And sometimes you have no choice but to pick somebody who you may not trust completely, but you're big hoping that they're going to do something. They're going to do what's best for you, what's in your best interest. Because we hear about elder abuse, we hear about spousal abuse or something like that, where one person is ill and the other spouse is like not treating them well, or even sometimes the children and not treating them well, or family member who you pick, you'll say, well, they're the power of attorney, so I can't say anything. So you want to get somebody who you can trust. That's why it's important that you're making these decisions when you're still able to make the decision, make the power of attorney when you're still able to, sign, mind, and body can make the decision. All that doesn't mean that person is going to be trustworthy way back then. God forbid that you may not need them at all, but maybe years and years, and you can always go back and change it. Maybe you're the person that had a falling out eventually, so you might say, okay, I don't want to trust this person. And sometimes, depending on your state, too, you can have two people, two medical power of attorney too. So I hope they kind of get along well. Okay, so it's important that you can trust the person. You can call them up. You can say, you know what, I really don't want to. If God forbid something happens, and I'm laying somewhere with a brain injury, I don't want that. You don't want that person going back and changing things, because that can also affect everything else that comes along with it, your family, and if you have children, your work, your life insurance, all of that comes into play. So you want to be able to trust that person when you make that decision. Okay. Alrighty. Number three is someone who can be assertive. Okay, so let me go in here. So you want to make sure that person, when the person's not going to be like, falling out of the emotions and all, saying, oh my goodness, I can't do this. No, no, no. You need someone who will come there and be able to stand up. And especially when you have family members, let's say you come in there and they're telling you, the doctors, the health team is telling you, this is what we're looking at. If we try to do this can only prolong their lives for maybe a couple of months. If we do this may do that. All so most of the things that require, like, really in the kind of decisions that you really need to be able to say, you say, stop. This is what he or she wanted. Okay, we talked about this when they were able to make that decision. They said, no, I don't want to be a feeding tube. No, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want additional surgery. No, I don't want to go on dialysis. No, I don't want any of that. They already talked to me about it. So you have to be assertive to be able to bring everybody. Sometimes you're going to be dealing with different set of family members. Maybe they're the mother side, the father side, or husband, in-laws and all. So you have to be able to be assertive to say, stop. This is what they wanted, and this is what we're going to go with. Okay. Or they want everything done, even though you're saying that I don't see any reason why you want to prolong their lives and all. No, they want everything done. And you have to be assertive. You're staying there and talk against all these people, and also talk against, towards the medical team too, and say, no, I don't want this, or yes, I want this, and be assertive in your decision. Okay. So that's important. Alrighty. So let me go in here. Number four, someone who has an understanding of medical process. Now, it doesn't mean that the person has to be like a nurse or a doctor, or NPPA, or somebody in the health field, but it also helps a lot too. Okay, so it's like, sometimes I'm on the phone for family members that may say, okay, my cousin or my sister, this person's an NP. Can you please explain? Because certain things, like, you don't understand, the person could be in a different field. Let's say you're talking to somebody who's an accountant, or somebody who, this other person is a sport like athlete or whatever, a teacher or whatever it is, doesn't mean they don't understand that, but it's just important. It's like it just makes it more beneficial to you. And also, like if I'm saying they're talking to a family member who understands everything I'm saying, I'm not going to be saying that in like big medical terms and all that too, but it's just easier to be able to talk to that person, and that person can ask questions. Okay, what did this test show? What did this X-ray show? What did they? So that way they know, they understand. If I sit there and say, well, you don't want this person to get some blood, their hemoglobin is this, okay, or this person needs to get, be put on insulin or something like that, their A1C is this. So that person's understanding it right away and can say and turn around to the rest of the family member and say, this is what we're looking at. They say this and this, and we're looking at all of these test results, and we're looking at this imaging, the checks X-ray or the MRI, and this is what it's showing. And also we need to be able to sit there and say, okay, this is the decision we have to come to. All right. It's very important that we come to this decision. So it's also, you can have the power of attorney who is not a medical person, and also have this other medical person in the family to who want to say and talk to. But it's important to also know that you're going to be talking to power of attorney, and then you can say, can I have this other person also listen to? They may have some questions to ask, or they may have something to add to it. So we're not going to kick the person out of the room or stuff like that, but it's just important that it's important when you have somebody who knows what they're talking about. Because let's say if you take me to some athlete place or something like that, I don't know too much about it. I may be saying, okay, let me just ask my brother who knows about this, or my friend. If I go get my taxes done, I might ask somebody who's like really, wait a second, this person trying to say I can't get enough money back. What would you do? So at least you have that person who's educated in that field that can give better understanding to everything else that is going on. All right. So it's someone who has understanding of medical processes. Alrighty. Number 5, someone who is articulate. Okay, so again, kind of goes back to being assertive and all, but this person, you got to make sure that they, when I say articulate, doesn't mean like, okay, like your accent, you can be speaking a different accent, but just that you have to be able to explain stuff, okay, and also be able to like say stuff to where you're not going to be so scared when they say it, or you're not going to fold on the emotions and all. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And then you start like mumbling your words, and then the person's like, okay, seriously, we don't have enough time to deal with this, and we need you to collect yourself and be able to like say what you have to say, and say succinctly, so where everybody understands it. Okay, and it also goes back to being assertive. So if you're able to be assertive and all, you're going to be able to articulate what you're trying to say. Just like open your mouth. Nah, we're not going to say that to you, but open your mouth and be able to say that and say, yes, this is what the person wanted and all. And I know I'm emotional right now, and I know this person is one like the closest person to me. This may be my husband, this may be my mother, this may be my father, somebody close to me, but I need to be able to stand here and like breathe it out and go according to the person's wishes. Okay. So it means you have to be like, if you're taking forever to make up your mind and all that too, to be like, you already discussed this with this person, and you know what we were thinking about. So why I mean, of course, when you get there at that point, you're gonna be nervous and all. So we're not expecting to know everything, or we're not gonna be expecting that to be emotional. But at least that way you'll be able to collect yourself and understand this. Okay. So number 6, unfortunately, I don't have number 6 on my banner there. I did that, but I didn't save it. But anyways, number 6 would be someone who has a willingness to serve. Okay. So remember, it can be really stressful when you ask that person this, and you ask me, oh, yeah, sure. When I'm in my 20s and my 30s, yeah, I don't have that much responsibilities yet. As we get older, but even that, even if I'm still younger too. Okay. So it's like, but my responsibilities are more, and your sickness or your illness is requiring a lot of, and for me, and also for the fact that, okay, yeah, I no longer live closer to you, and the things that I believe in at the time when you ask me, I may not believe in it and all that, or maybe I'm just not into that, doing that anymore. I have too many things to do, and I just don't feel like So if the person's coming to you to ask you that, they're honoring you, the fact that they respect you to be able to do that. So if they agree to do it, if you agree to do it, make sure this is something that's going to be long term. Okay, or just say, oh, okay, yes, I know it's going to be long term. Can you also get somebody else to? So if person to notify number 1, and then you can make me number 2 eventually. Let's say we go 20 years later, make me number 2 eventually. So everybody has a copy of that document, by the way. Anyways, okay. So, and it's signed and it's notarized and all that, to the lawyers already looked over it, whatever the requirement is in your state or in your country. So it's very important. So if that person's not the kind of person who would be there, would go to bat for you or be there for you and all that when the time is really, when it really needs to be there physically and mentally and all, find somebody else. Again, like I said, sometimes it's not always possible to find somebody else. You may really love that person, you may really care for them and honor them and all, but and then sometimes you may ask somebody and that person is just not the kind of person to do it. It'll be like, no, you want me to go paint your house? You want me to take you, bring you some food? You want me to do that? I can do all that. I cannot do the power of attorney because I'm not going to be the one to say, okay, let's stop this treatment, or let's, no, she can have the dialysis, or no, she can have the blood, or no, she didn't want anything else done. That person, if you know that person's temperament, okay, and they're not the kind of right person, please respect that too, okay? You're gonna be like, no, I can't. I have a friend who, the other one had an aneurysm and he like did not want to go to the hospital at all. It's like, just go and see them. He said, no, I don't. I want to remember them the way they were. Okay, so not everybody is cut up for this kind of thing. So it's important that you talk to your family member and talk to your close friends and all that. So this is a conversation. So look at conclude basically. This decision is going to be very important for you to make, and it's something that you need to think about every day, regardless of how old you are. Because again, like I said, you make that decision in medical power of attorney. You make that decision for somebody who's going to be there for you and be able to help you and make that decision when you can no longer make that decision. Depend regardless of how old you are. Anything can happen at any time. Okay, so if you have any questions, please leave them below. I'll answer it. You can also direct these questions over to your own provider, and anybody who's into like doing power of attorney or anything in your family, you can also direct it. But please leave the questions for me below. And again, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Please share the show. Please share the show. And I will see you guys next week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye bye now.